I've always wondered, why are some people more confident, more successful, and just happier than the rest of us? Like, what do they know that we don't, right? And it always bothered me that there could be two people of the same talent, hard work, character, ethic, same resume essentially, but one person could end up being like Michael Jackson. Another person could be a dude taking tips on the subway for singing with his guitar. It bothers me because it can't just come all down to luck, right? Because that is something we can't control. And then that means no matter how good we are, we can't control the outcome. We're either just destined by Father Luck one day sipping his cappuccino in the morning, waving his hand and by accident blessing us to be successful or not. And that is the uncertainty that is really tough for me to live with. But the more I studied the icons, the billionaires, the superstars, I noticed that there is a quality, like a thread between all of them that goes deeper. There's something very similar that they all do, and that is they know how to be magnetic. Magnetic energy is simply energy that makes people want to be around you. And if you have that energy, it's intoxicating to others. I mean, people are drawn to you, they seek you out, they obsess over you, they crave you. And if anything, they open doors of opportunities for you without you even asking. Luckily, I found that learning how to be magnetic is something that's been around for centuries, and it's a skill that can be taught. And it all starts with the 5 habits I'm going to share with you today. And stay till the very end, because the last habit will not only make you super magnetic, but also extremely attractive and good looking to others. Habit 1 is don't perform for others. There's a quote from one of my favorite books, The Daily Stoics by Ryan Holiday, and it's by Epictetus. So when I say this whole how to be magnetic thing's been going on for centuries, let's hear from one of the Stoic philosophers from the BC era who talks about this. He says, in public, avoid talking often and excessively about your accomplishments and dangers. Dangerous in this sense means your stories or heroic feats. For however much you enjoy recounting your dangers, it is not so pleasant for others to hear about your affairs. So, we have this habit, and trust me, I do this as well, this is something I'm still working on, where we dominate a conversation because we have a funny story or something to talk about ourselves, and it feels good, honestly, to make it all about you for a second. All eyes are on you, people are listening, people are laughing along. But Epictetus says, do you think people are really enjoying what you're saying? Do they really care about your old high school football days stories, or your exaggerated story of how some crazy shit went down in college, or some date you just went on recently and how the girl was obsessed with you? No, it's self-absorbed, it's boring, and it's very egotistical actually to make everything all about you and to think people are that invested into who you are in your life. So try your best not to create this fantasy world where everyone revolves around you and everyone's obsessed with you and your stories. Because honestly, most people are on autopilot and they're more worried about themselves than your crazy story from back in the day. Instead, live in reality. Connect, listen, and hear people, and just don't perform for them because you're just wasting your time and theirs. And when it comes to performing for others, you also have to know when to walk away. For example, if you're supposed to spend an hour with someone, only spend 50 minutes because your time is very valuable, and that's how high value magnetic people walk through life. Instead of sticking to people, constantly trying to appease them, be charismatic, hitting witty dialogues and stuff, walk away. And especially know when to walk away when it's from low value people, because those are energy vampires and they suck every single little bit out of you without even realizing it sometimes. And you know who those people are in your life, because low value people are constantly trying to draw from you this success, this happiness, this confidence that we talked about earlier into themselves and seep it from you. So the price you pay for having low value people in your life is your life. Habit 2 is to see their soul. I want you to listen intensely and intently to every single word someone is saying. Like, lean into them, really just try to understand what it is that they're saying and be genuinely curious in the other person. Almost like Neo in the Matrix when he sees things that people aren't seeing. When people are talking, they're often maybe communicating something else than the exact words they're saying. Really try to understand what that is from someone. See, when you give your 100% full attention to someone and you stare into their eyes with full interest in what they're saying, your full focus, your full attention, your phone is turned off, down, you're not, it's like often days people just put their phone on the table and then see notifications pop up and pretend like they're still talking to someone. It's very distracting. Give your full flashlight of focus onto one person and just be so there with them in the present that almost nothing else in the world matters besides your conversation with them. And just see how that changes everything for that person, because no one has the time of day anymore to give that much attention and focus to someone else like you will be to these people. And see, when you start to behave in that way, when you start to try to see someone's soul, it it changes everything about the conversation. People start to lean in. People start to, you draw people into a level that you hadn't done previously. And that's the thing introverts kind of miss. They feel like they have to be this exceptionalist, conversationalist, and have witty dialogues and banter and pickup lines and like just these charismatic quotes on the top of their head. But that's not conversation is about. Conversation is about getting rid of the small talk. It's not, hey, how's it going? What's the weather like today? It's about getting to the deeper stuff, asking people about their passions, and then hearing what makes them happy. Because when people talk about what makes them happy, you won't even have to try to conversation. They'll be talking for themselves. But no one gets to that deeper stuff, especially introverts, because they're caught up in their own head. They're not listening to what the other person's saying. They're just kind of think, what should I say next? What am I thinking about? Or something else that's going on in their mind. So when the conversation's going on, they have no place to start. Instead, if you're fully present, fully aware, listening to every single word that person is saying, trying to once again see their soul, conversation happens naturally. You'll automatically find places or gaps in their conversation that you know that makes them happy or that they're passionate about. And you'll ask them more and be curious and dig into it, who they really are as an individual. And automatically, you'll be the best conversation they had that day because everyone else is shallow surface level up here. You're coming down here and in a way that makes it magnetic because people want to be around you because you make them a better version of themselves by just being there and talking about yourself in a way that you don't express yourself to other people. So a way to bring this point home is that there's this concept in Japan called ma, and I'll put the character up here, and it loosely translates to negative space, but the way I interpreted it as, and I guess the way I was taught when I was doing neurolinguistic programming as a certificate, is that the character ma is defined as not the black letters that make up the character. It's the white space around it that makes the letter. It's almost like when you're playing a song or music, it's not the notes that make the song, it's the space in between. And that really hit me the first time I heard it because I was like, oh shoot, like that actually makes somehow a lot of sense, especially from someone like me who likes to play piano. It's the space in between, it's the white space in art. And just like that in conversations, it's the gaps, it's the pauses. It's those moments that make a conversation really meaningful. And seek those out when you're talking to someone. When someone does pause, when you ask a question and someone is just like thinking, start pulling on that thread. And because that's when that's where the magic starts happening, when those pauses happen, when those gaps happen. Instead, a lot of people are just quick to fill those gaps with just unnecessary bullshit conversation. But when those moments happen, almost like try to hit like 3 gaps in a conversation with someone, because that's when you start to really see who their soul is and start to understand. And the reason I keep saying see their soul, not just like be curious or be intentful, is because I almost want you to use it as a trigger phrase. When you're talking to someone and you're trying to really understand who they are, almost like in your mind, say, okay, let me see their soul. And suddenly you start to notice that you smile different, you talk different, you are more intentful with the way you have conversations with people. It's almost like this reminder for yourself because this is, once again, a skill. It's not easy to remember to listen intensely in a conversation when you've had a tough day or you're tired or whatever. So when you want to have that moment to be magnetic with someone and have that energy in you, talking to someone, tell yourself, I want to see their soul, and then have that conversation with them and just see how everything changes, transforms. Habit 3 is to plug into life's energy source. See, there's 2 types of energy sources. There's the physical source where you have caffeine, alcohol, sleeping well, working out, etc. Those are the things that help, and they work temporarily, not all the time, but they do definitely make a difference. But there's an energy source that's deeper than all that, that is somewhat also permanent and more invigorating, and that is life's energy source. And here's what I mean by that. You've maybe heard stories about how Navy SEALs go through 4 days of sleepless nights, and suddenly they're able to have a burst of energy on the 5th day and do incredible physical performances. Or when people who are passionate like entrepreneurs about an idea or thought, and they don't need sleep, they don't need food, they don't need anything, and they're able to go. Meanwhile, guys like you and me are taking coffee for our normal day-to-day job because we feel tired from the night before. These guys don't need it. It feels like they're almost from a different realm. The David Goggins, the Elon Musks, the Kanye West, they're plugged into a different life source than we are. And all that comes down to is one simple thing. And that comes down to being in alignment with what we call in Hinduism, dharma, which is your life's purpose. And I promise you, if you meet one of these people I just mentioned earlier in real life, they will have a magnetic quality and presence about them because they're so in tune and in line to what they truly want in life that there's nothing that stops them. They don't need an energy drink to get them going. They're already fired up and charged up to tackle the day head on with unstoppable momentum that you and I just are astonished and in awe by, and that's what makes them magnetic. When you talk to someone and behind their eyes, They have this purpose, they're driven, and you know they're not there from some like buoyant, energetically high level, which you come from physical energy sources. They come from a grounded, a really serious and stern energy, a life source that is just pouncing through them. That makes them so intoxicating, and it's like, I want that in my life, right? Because oftentimes in life, there's so many lost souls, right? We're finding our purpose, we're lost on our path. So many people are busy being busy, stuck in the cycle, the monotony of life. And then you would come across these people. It's almost like a woman in a red dress walking by in the Matrix again, or a light bulb in a sea of darkness. It's like, wow, this guy's like, there's like 1,000 light bulb when everyone else is just a dim little Philips Hue light. So it's such an incredible quality, and the only way you find that is with trial and error, but really aligning with their higher power. And when I say higher power, it means surrendering to something that's greater than yourself. This doesn't need to be religious, but it could be surrendering yourself to being the best software engineer, or you're being the best at your job, or being the best family man, or being the best athlete, or being the best student, whatever that is in your life right now. By surrendering to that and giving it your all and putting yourself in full alignment, like, this is my goal, this is my life, this is everything I need to do, and be the best at it. You move with different confidence through life. You walk through life differently. So certain conversations just attract you because people see you differently than they see everyone else. And then that's when you start being more magnetic from an energetic sense versus just a magnetic from a charismatic sense. And what's funny is I'm sure you felt this energy before in you already. Maybe it was a life-changing job interview, or it was a big presentation, or it was you had a big game the next day, or just anything along those lines. You probably woke up not sleeping that much night because you were up all night, and you are ready to go. You are fired up. Maybe it was a problem you've been thinking about all night and you finally got the answer for it. You don't need coffee or anything to get you going. You don't need alcohol to have a good time at night. You suddenly everything just seems so clear, and you are more creative. You're sharper. You're like more on the go, and that kind of energy is what I'm saying is you can have 100% of your life when you're in constant alignment with your dharma or your purpose, or your overall surrendering to the greater purpose and thing that you're trying to really solve for, which is your exact mission in life. And that will change everything for you. Habit 4 is to be an invincibility mirror. One of the best qualities magnetic people have about them is that they uplift other people. They're extremely positive and they radiate invincibility, meaning other people feel the best selves around them. When you're around a magnetic, energetically human, you can't help but feel invincible. They support you. All your biggest problems in the world that you're going crazy about, they make it small and achievable and doable. Is the reason why we see guys like Tony Robbins and we want to emulate other people like James Bond, is because they have a calming presence about them that they're able, anything they touch becomes a problem that is not solved. And that's what you want to be. When people come to you, you want to uplift them. You want to support them. There's nothing worse than a cranky loser who is constantly bringing people down. And the best way I think about this is almost like like having a party bubble around you, right? Everyone who's in your arm's reach, they should be having a good time. A good time. Like you should never be making fun of other people's clothes, or other people's hair, or other people, like anything. Like if someone comes to you and talks about their dream, support them, be their biggest cheerleader, and show them how it can be done. When you're around them, they're invincible. They are intoxicated because they feel like there's nothing they can achieve if you're in their life. Add value to their life. Help them out. Give them connections. Give them your opportunities that you have at your disposal. And suddenly you'll start to see this network sizzle through, because people start to feel like they need to be around you. And it's in a way that it's helping others at the same time. It's not for selfish reasons. In a nutshell, you want to be a mirror to show other people what is possible for them, and to make them feel like the hero in their own story. And who doesn't want to feel like a hero, right? And the more you do that for others, the more it comes back to you, because you become the hero or the guide or the consigliere in their story. And if you can truly master the ability to make other people feel like the best version of themselves when they're around you in your presence, therein lies the key to being truly magnetic. So one of the best approaches to this is to start reframing the way you think about problems. Because I want to give you something actionable, not just to be like, oh, go be a happy person. For example, let's say you are stuck in traffic, or you miss the subway to work. What do most people do? They're like, oh crap, I'm gonna get late. My boss is gonna hate me. I missed this assignment. I was supposed to be at a restaurant at this time. And most people just start like cycling into despair. Instead, pause and reflect for a moment and be like, thank you, universe or whoever, for making me miss this subway, because now that gives me a chance to practice my presentation. This gives me a chance to do my morning reading on the news that I forgot to do that morning, or it give me a second to meditate and pause and reflect about my day, or whatever that is, right? Whatever you keep thinking about these negative situations are immediately our reaction is to just be negative, because that's who we are. We seek out negative situations in life as like a defense mechanism to prevent ourselves from getting hurt. But no one wants to be around negative complainers who are saying, who make their whole day about how they missed the subway. Instead of making that ruin your entire day, make it something that makes your day special, makes it positive, and catch yourself in these negative moments when you start to spiral and transform it into a positive moment. Habit 5 is to improve your self-worth. And this is one that no one really talks about, but it's absolutely crucial in being socially magnetic. See, others don't perceive us as how we are. They perceive us as how we think we are. So our internal framework really matters. If you go into a party and people are looking at you and your first thought process is, like, people must be staring at me, maybe because of my big nose, maybe I did something to my outfit, maybe I gained a few pounds so they're noticing that. Oh gosh, like they must think I'm so awkward, they're so weird. Like if that's your initial reaction versus you walk into the room, same situation, people stare at you and you think, wow, like I must be looking really good today. People are checking me out. Wow, I must have a really good presence and quality about myself. My outfit must be amazing. My hair's on point. Like these are the same external reactions, but internally what's going on is very different. It's what we call this input output. What we input in our mind is how we output our energy to the world. And if that's how you are right now, constantly insecure, thinking you're lame, you're a loser, or things happen to you, not for you, then that's the exact energy you're gonna give out. And that's why it's absolutely crucial, because no one wants to be around people who bring them down, right? And the fact of the matter is that those external situations are gonna happen. People are gonna stare no matter what. It's your ability to process those reactions in a positive way that's gonna make the biggest difference for you and everyone around you. Because when you think that people are checking you out, you carry yourself very differently than when people stare and they think they're staring at your terrible haircut that day, right? Even though it's the same exact scenario, you carry yourself in a different way and the energy you give out is a different way. And yes, if you think people are looking at you because you are awkward, you are going to be awkward. But if you think people are looking at you because you're absolutely badass, then you're going to emulate being more badass. It's just how reality is. But this is easier said than done. And I know it takes more self-work, more therapy, or even just looking at yourself and catching yourself and being aware in the moments of how you speak to yourself in self-talk. So one of the best ways I do this is by actually journaling, because I noticed journaling is almost like having a conversation with myself. So I write out parts of myself that I'm thinking in the moment. It's like an honest conversation with myself, how I think, what I'm feeling, how my day went. Did it go good? Did it go bad? And I see everything I say, and I circle all the negative stuff that I say all the time to myself, and I try to rewrite them as positives. And by doing that over and over again for months and for months, I actually catch myself saying those exact negative phrases, and I'm able to reframe that self immediately. One of the things I say often is like, oh, I can't do that, I can't do this. And suddenly I've seen that so many times in my journaling, and it becomes clear to me that now I rephrase it to that I can or I must do it, right? So suddenly when I say, oh, I can't run 3 miles, I immediately reframe to I must run 3 miles. Oh, I can't do the task because it takes 3 hours. I must do this task because it takes 3 hours. So small stuff like that takes you a long way improving your self-worth. But while we mentioned it's really tough to do it, internally, the work takes time, but it's absolutely crucial. There's a way to almost hack the system, externally at least, to give yourself the fake self-confidence in the meantime in order to get that there. And that's by improving your presentation. You know, when you're eating right, sleeping right, working out, and you put on that custom fitted suit and blazer on, you just feel some type of way, bro. Like when you walk through life, I walk with swag, I walk with confidence. I suddenly don't think that people are staring at me because I'm weird. I think they're staring at me because they're checking out my bespoke custom suit, right? So I know I think and move differently when I'm at my best self externally, and that reinforces ourselves internally. We have this big preconceived notion that the mind follows the body. Like if I think I'm weird, I act weird, which is very true, and your energy gives that exact signal, but your body also follows your mind. If I'm walking with confidence, tall, and like there's the whole Superman pose and all that stuff, my mind will almost start to trick itself that, hey, maybe it is like that, you know? So that's a quick hack and quick trick that really works. And body language is such a big key to that, because if you have open body language, and you're smiling, and smiling with your eyes, not just like your fake smile, smiling with your eyes, open body language, you're laughing, you're having a good time, your body starts to assume that you're feeling confident, and it starts to exude that confidence by itself. Even though your self-talk might be butting against you, you can kind of push back on that a bit. But this is the problem. People go to a party and they cross their arms like this, right? And they sit in a corner and they're like, you know, this party sucks. The people suck here. The music sucks. And what happens, why that is because maybe the music is pretty good, bro. But since you're crossing your arms, your mind starts to send a signal that, oh, this is a dangerous situation. I need to protect my organs. So like, oh, you are almost making the situation bad for yourself because your body language is that way, where no matter if they play the freaking Viva La Vida by Coldplay, it'll sound shitty to you because you're sitting in a way that your mind wants to interpret as you are having a bad time. Suddenly, by shifting your body language, by shifting the way you present yourself, by taking pride in the way you look and getting a haircut that suits your hair shape, stop going to a barber, go to a hairstylist, all the small things like that, you will suddenly start to feel a sense of confidence and self-worth emerge, because it's like tending to your garden. When you tend to something or work at something, you start to feel proud of it. So by working on your body, working on appearance, working on your physical features, you start to get some more self-worth that way. But it doesn't completely replace the internal self-worth that you have to increase, because that is absolutely crucial. And that's it, guys. Let me know in the comments below, what is one habit that surprised you the most from today's list? And if you're new here, my name is Sid, and I like to put out one video a week, video essays like this, where I take a self-improvement concept, break it down into actionable parts that you can actually use in your day-to-day life. And if that's something that interests you, consider subscribing. And if you want to connect with me further, you can follow me on Instagram at Sid Chawla, or subscribe to my weekly free newsletter at sidchawla.com/newsletter. Lastly, if you're serious about self-improvement and want to close that gap between who you currently are and who you're capable of being, go ahead and check out my course, The Success Formula. Link is in the description box below. I'll go ahead and share here what video you should watch after this one. And until next time, friends, keep crushing it.